It's day 155 of the Diabetic Insanity journey. Amazingly, this is the room where I started day one, and I have to say I look a lot better than when I did when I started this journey on day one. Just a lot more lighter, a lot more fresher, a lot less heavier, and a lot more insightful, less depressed about the journey, less intimidated and overwhelmed by the journey. Um, I'd like to think this is halfway through the journey, but who knows, how long this is going to take. I'm not that much further from where I started. I was 70 kilos when I started, and now I'm around about 68, which is fine. But it's more about the change that I've noticed within myself. And I just remember being on this bed, being in this room and being very uncertain about whether I was going to, endure the long trek through the tough times of what this was going to mean, what I was going to embark upon. And I'm really proud to say that I've overcome a lot of the struggles that I initially initially had. When I started this journey. I mean, number one was the eating. You know, overcoming overcoming the very hardened habits over many years of just eating unconsciously, without thinking about what I was doing to myself or my energy, or the damage I was doing to my body and my energy field. And then it's just the emotional battles that I've had, ever since I was young, overcoming a lot of my thinking and toxic thinking and behavior habits. I've broken a lot of those. No longer do I sit there and dwell and let myself spiral into negativity. I combat that with action, and positive thoughts. Um, and then there's just the day-to-day journey, just like being mindful, practicing mindfulness, being the observer and observing the everyday, and really seeing the divine, really seeing the beauty and the divine in everything that exists, rather than seeing it as something that's a blight on humanity or something ugly. I see it as something as part of the divine plan, the divine matrix. So anyway, today I wanted to discuss this topic about cycles. Now, I've been listening to Gregg Braden, who's been very popular on Guy.com and on the in the spiritual talk circuits and on podcasts of late. Gregg Braden was a geologist for many years, and a scientist and a mathematician, and worked for many large-scale corporations in America. And I think over time realized he realized there was more of a link between science and spirituality than initially thought of. And, like, his thing is about mathematical formulas, the cyclical nature of life, and how it follows, a very divine pattern. And I watched one of his episodes on his show called Missing Links on Guy.com. And it really caught my attention amongst all the other episodes that he's uploaded, that Guy's uploaded onto the internet. And this one caught my attention because it's really about, how you can. There's no randomness in life. Life follows a pattern, and a mathematical pattern at that. And he developed an algorithm that he believes works, and works out the formula for certain patterns that will possibly recur every few years in your life, according to a pie pattern. And I worked out my cycles, using the algorithm. And you start off with picking the age that you had your first very, very, what do you call, significant event or seed event. And that formulates the pattern of your lifetime. So you start off with three, age three, for example. Your next significant phase for the cycle to start and finish starts at three. It might finish at around about six, that cycle. And then it's up to you to change the cycle. Then your next phase might be 10. It starts at six, ends at 10. Then the chance comes again for you to either start the pattern again or start a new cycle. You know, when you're younger, you do develop these very repetitive cycles because you're operating at a level of unconsciousness, below consciousness, that you just didn't know what was going on. You just thought that was normal. Oh, here we go again. I've probably seen this before, I've experienced this before, but I'll just go through it again. That's what your lizard mind is operated to think. But really, it's an opportunity for you to make better choices in the next cycle of your life. So I did this algorithm, and worked out, the significant phases in my life, starting from age three when my mother got remarried, and we moved to Maribyrnong. And that was actually the beginning of, one of the most abusive cycles of my life, from age three to about age six. And still the worst cycle, believe it or not, because as each cycle moved on, I became more and more consciously aware until I'm at my current cycle of 40. I'm actually in the middle of a cycle at the moment, believe it or not. It's not actually the beginning, it's actually the middle. I think my next one might be around about age 48, or no, actually 68, I think is the next one. The start of the current cycle I'm in was about 38, 39. So I think my next one's calculated to be about 68 as my next evolution. So I guess what's significant about now, well, first, in terms of the numbers, the last time I tried to lose weight, I was 20 years old, 19 to 20 years old. That's when I lost 10 kilos. That's when I decided, I remember I consciously decided, I'm not being this fat person at 64 kilos anymore, hoeing down pizzas and feeling fat and miserable. Forget it. I'm in a position, I guess, where I was living at home at the time. I have the time to lose the weight, and I kind of have a little bit of the money because it's not tied up in rent. So I took that opportunity to lose 10 kilos, and I was very determined about it. And I did lose 10 kilos within the year. So that was interesting. And now I'm at 40 and I'm wanting to lose the weight again, but a lot more, almost double the weight, and double the age. So that's really interesting, isn't it? That I've come around again. But the last time I tried to lose weight, it was based on different values. It was based on the fact that I wanted to be looked at and loved in the way that I looked like in my mind. And I wasn't particularly spiritual at that time, although I was going to church. I didn't have this conscious awareness of all these other things going on. And now I'm at 40, and it's so about different things. It's not even about the weight loss, although that's a big part of it, because the weight loss is no longer motivated by being looked at or being loved. That those things are not valuable to me anymore, because I've found through experience that life hasn't worked out that way based on those values. And now what's most important is my healing journey. And now I have a new set of beliefs about the quantum field and quantum healing. It's a totally different experience, the weight loss. Because the weight loss is not only about shedding the physical weight. It's about losing all the old patterns and all the old emotions that held me back and kept me dense at this level. And I realized I had a big think about why was I at this level? Why was I sitting at that level for so long? Well, I was around, a bunch of negative people with negative lives, negative patterns, negative behaviors, abusive behaviors. Why was I sitting at that level for so long? And that's because that's how I saw myself. Or that's how I decided to, that's the lens I decided to see myself through, was through a feeling of very low self-worth. So, you know, you are the creator of your life and you attract what you think and who you are. And that's who I was. And to basically change that, but to fundamentally change that, I needed to change my thinking about and viewing of who I am. And who I am is someone who's a powerful manifester, who's valuable in the world, who's got a lot to offer. And that's not through just the lens of the world, which is through status and money and looks and superficial power structures. It's through your influence, it's through your energy, it's through what you can give. And I've realized I can give that. And so I'm really looking forward to the next phase of my life where I'm going through this very dramatic transformation period where I'm changing from the inside out, not just from the outside in, you know, or just from the outside, or and the inside's still the same. It's a change from the inside out, and it's made apparent to me through, I guess, not only these little video logs, but through the way I'm living my life. You know, I'm living it at a much different level, um, feeling density. It's a lot different, a lot less heavier, a lot less dense than how I used to live it. You know, I used to be a person, I would wake up every day and life would just feel heavy. You know, life would just feel so heavy, and I'd have to, you know, I'd think, oh, how am I going to get through this day? You know, what time do I have to catch the bus to go to school? What amount of money do I have to earn this week to get by? What am I going to eat? You know, always thinking about what I was going to eat. You know, what conflict can I avoid? What do I need to get done? You know, so I'm not anxious. You know, instead of like, you know, just really embracing all those things in life with some level of joy, I just saw everything as a burden. So that reflected in my energy, that reflected in the quality of my life. And now my life, okay, it's not dramatically different. And yeah, I'm human. I still have my days where it's a downer, but I'm nowhere near as like, you know, in steeped in that level of thinking as I once was. And life doesn't feel anywhere near as heavy going as it once did. And so that's reflected back in my energy and hopefully my appearance as well. So, you know, I'm going to study more about this, you know, cyclical nature and cyclical nature of life, and study more about Gregg Braden's theories on the fractal time, and see what other discoveries I can uncover. I mean, the other thing I noticed about, you know, the different phases over the course of my lifetime and the patterning was about every 3 to 4 years I would move or start or end a relationship. And it was often like when I moved that something ended. That's really interesting, isn't it? You know, it was never pleasant circumstances either. And I wonder, you know, if there's a way that I can break some of those patterns, those negative patterns, and face what I've been running from all this time, and make new healthy patterns. I wonder if there's a way that I can do that. And I guess this journey is part of that challenge. So I'm going to leave it here. I've got a dental appointment today, and Vanessa and I are going to go to Ceres today to the Sustainability Fashion Show. So it's something to look forward to today. The weather's going to be pretty so-so today, maybe slightly mild in Melbourne, but I'm not going to let that get me down. I'm just going to forge ahead with my day and keep a positive attitude. So just leave it here, and I'll speak to you soon.